for the webinar today. That was my mistake. But I just wanted to thank you for participating in this little training. Just to give you a little bit of background, you already know about the site and what we're planning, but we wanted to just choose a couple of folks who we knew would get, or obviously you guys already get the system, but to be able to look at it for what we're doing here, and then provided some feedback so that when we do the larger training, we make sure that we cover everything. If I'm going to go ahead and if we can just, I think we all know everybody, right? Nobody doesn't know who's on the line.
Absolutely.
Okay.
They haven't had the pleasure of meeting Joni in person, but soon.
Right. Right. And Joni did a training earlier today for the Diabetes Prevention Program providers, and I really enjoyed it, Joni. I think you did a great job. So
thank you so much.
I'm turning it over to you.
All right. Well, wonderful. Hi, everybody. I'm Joni, and I think I have met most of you over the phone at least. And we are going to go through Workshop Wizard, specifically your needs and functionality. I believe you have seen another system of this that's quite robust. We're going to leave this just to the different areas that you'll need for your classes, referrals, and organizations. And so I'm going to start with people. And I'm going to come back to the search page, but let's start with general. And this is going to be where we add in our contacts. So this may be a facilitator. This may be someone who may want to go through future training. This could be a site contact or an organizational contact. This is not where you put referrals. These are going to be people that we want to have as contacts and identify them as what type of contact they are. So I'm going to go through basically entering in someone and show you a few different ways that we can search and a few bit of functions that we are able to use that go along with the People tab. So,
let me just interrupt for a second. So you all will see this and think, well, this works a lot like our Mac system, and that's because it's very similar in the way it works. It's going to look a little different, but the functionality is very similar. This has some differences because it was developed in a different time and in a different way, but you'll see that their functionality is very, very similar. So if you're thinking, well, this looks familiar, it's because it is. Okay.
All right, wonderful. So, of course, with the system, how we are going to, one thing to always remember, or two actually, is one, to tell the system exactly what you want. So we're going to add a person, but also the save changes. I can't say enough about how important this is for when you are entering in information or making edits. So I'm going to go ahead and add a person. And of course, we would want to put in as much information as we possibly can about this person. I'm just going to link it here. Of course, you would want to add the additional information. I'm going to go ahead and leave that as is. And over here, something that's really important, these are our people types. And so these are going to be used as search functions and to identify the type of person that Tim actually is. So I'm going to go through, I'm actually going to make Tim a site contact. I'm going to make him an organizational contact. And I'm going to say that he is a leader, and we'll make him also a workshop contact. So what's great about these people types is that they are dynamic. So if you find that there's a different type of different type of people type that you need, you can add those later. You would not necessarily have access, however, your administrator will have access to that. So I'm going to save Tim here. I'm going to go now next over to certificates. And here is where we're going to enter certificates that Tim may be acquiring. And so again, I'm going to tell the system I need to add a certificate. I want to make Tim a leader. So he's going to be a leader of CDS&P, and we're making him active. Here's where we put the different curriculums. So we're going to say again, CDS&P, and we're going to say that his certificate is going to expire 1 year from now, and well, 1 year from yesterday. Nope, that's not true. There we go. And here, here. Okay, and here we might put some comments in, like maybe Tim is also a DPP lifestyle coach. And this can be any comments at all that you need to know about this person. Okay, again, I'm going to save changes. And now I'm going to go and show you a few of, well, yes, I'm going to start actually first with going to classes. And so we're on Tim, and we're able to add Tim in a few different ways. So we're going to add Tim as a student. Let me actually do what's next. Okay. Well, I'm going to add Tim as a student in here, and we must not have a populated class for the CDS&P as far as leader training. So I'm going to add him in as a, oh, I know what we're doing. Okay, we're going to add him in as a student. And here, basically we're saying that Tim has taken this role as a student. So if Tim becomes a facilitator, then we are able to add Tim in as a facilitator into a different class. This is going to be our way of seeing how this person, under people, the classes they have taught or taken. And again, this is not your participants. These are going to be your facilitators, contacts, trainers, anyone that may have taken a class or any type of training. So let's get back to search, because this is going to be where making sure that your information is entered in and entered in properly becomes very important. So I'm going to search just everybody so you can see all the people that are currently in the system. And I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to put in Tim's name to show that I can search him by just his name. I'm going to go back again, and I'm going to search everybody. Again, I'm going to come back here, and we're going to look at, I want to find all the coordinators. So I'm going to search again, and I'm able to put up all the coordinators that are listed as coordinator as a people type. What's great about this is if we need to go in and actually print a report so that we can quickly get to coordinator information, we just go to print, and it will pull up their contact information so that we have that quickly. I'm going to go back here to Workshop Wizard, and I might need a personal history report of all the coordinators. I'm going to go again. And this is actually going to show us what type of person they have been indicated as, and then also any of the classes they may have taught. This group has not, but we have another group that sure should have. So let's go back to people again. I'm going to search, and this time I'm going to search by curriculum.
But that was from the end of.
And so here again we have all the people who are CDS&P, related to CDS&P. They go to print again, and we're going to look at a standard report. Again, contact information. And then I'm also going to go here to export. Oh, sorry, I wanted to actually go to personal history because I want to see the classes they've been in. So again, I have what type of person they are, also with what type of role they have participated as and the course that they have participated as. So as a teacher, that shows that they have been a facilitator of a course. Here we have a student. This is going to show that they have taken a training from us. And it has a list again of the courses and the type of person each one of these has been identified as. And again, this is all in real time that we're pulling up these reports. Okay, I'm going to go out. Now, if we are wanting to export and have an easy way to manipulate the information and the contact information, I'd go to export. And we have a CSV file that pulls up where we're able to manipulate the information quickly.
So this helps if you're trying to do an e-blast or if you're doing a mailing just to leaders or just to people who've done fidelity visits or whatever it is you need. You can pull this up and pull the information quickly.
Okay.
So all we need is what.
Okay, so again, we can also search for curriculums that have been taught in the past 12 months, see what we might have there.
Okay.
So we see Tim again. We can also look at type of certifications people might have. So if we want to pull up all of our leaders, let's make it specific to CDSMP.
I just have to add and see yourself, right?
Maybe I had to miss that. Oh, okay. I didn't save the initials. Sorry about that.
I think that was it, yeah.
Okay. So again, the search function is going to allow us for several different ways that we're able to search. Here we go. So I searched this one under Lifestyle Coach, and this is going to pull up all those people who have been certified as a Lifestyle Coach. So again, people is going to be where we're able to track the classes that people have taken or they are facilitating in. It's going to be able to track anyone's certificates. We're able to print personal histories and also contact information. And then we can export contact information as an easy way to manipulate and be able to share that information, send out different information. Do we currently have any questions on this People tab? And again, this should look pretty similar to what you've been working with.
Yeah, it's very similar. So my question is, and I think I'm confused because who will be entering that information? So are we used in place of the COA database, or are they dumping all the information that we currently have in the COA database into this?
So I just made myself a note a few minutes ago to tell you that we will be migrating, or Harry will be migrating, the information that's currently in COA's database, in the Living Well database, into this site, so that the only information you're going to have to add is new information. So, for example, when you have new workshops coming in and you have a new, then that's when you'll put any new information in. But to start, you're going to have a good head start on everybody else because the data is already there.
And have we already started migrating data over?
Not yet. Harry's writing the software for it now.
Okay, yeah, because I actually have some stuff I have to enter from a workshop, a leader training that I did in December, and a few other things. So I didn't know if he had already started to migrate things.
No, and we'll let you know when that's going to happen. And what we're doing is there's Harry's doing some programming so that things will easily be able to, one site will talk very well to the other site. So Mac and DHMH's Workshop Wizard will play very nicely together so that we won't have to have a lot of duplication of evidence.
Okay.
Right, they'll share both ways. So if you put something in this one, it'll end up in the Living Well site as well.
Okay, okay. And then I guess the question I had, so the same people will have access to this, or are we giving access to some of our healthcare partners so that they can access their data, or no, all that will still be done through Felicia or the coordinators?
Well, for this site, there are going to be a lot more hands on this site. I wasn't even thinking of the healthcare providers being in, but if they're the ones who are having the classes, I guess that's something that we're going to have to spend some time talking about, because I'm envisioning the coordinators in each jurisdiction being the ones who are going to be adding the information, or at least giving the rights to the partners to add workshops.
Okay.
We hadn't even gotten
You show them,
Okay.
So there's some intricacies in there, Pam, that we need to really think hard about and work out.
Okay. No problem.
Yep.
Part of it, you have a big chunk of this. This one has even, I think, a little bit more functionality than what Mac has currently, like if I'm remembering right. But what this will do is not only help us figure out if somebody's tried to log in and it's been locked out because they're using an invalid login, but it also gives us a lot of flexibility in whether they can go on and just look at referrals that are theirs, whether they can just look at workshops or just their own workshops for diabetes prevention, or whether they can look at, you know, have more access to things. So we have some conversations still to come about how we're going to, what rules we're going to set up for all of that, but we're already working on how we're going to make that so that not everybody has access to everything.
Okay. Yes.
Is it easier for you to pull a report?
And just one thing quickly before we move into sites, just to kind of go back to why filling in all this information becomes very important.
I know to do is to go back.
We want to go down to organization, and that is going to link directly with sites. So we want to make sure that that information is definitely in there.
And then when it comes to
I'm going to save changes. Okay. So now I'm going to go into sites, and this tab is where we organize the sites where organizations are holding different workshops. So again, we might have one overall site, which might be the YMCA, but however, the YMCA may be holding workshops at different locations. So again, I'm going to add a site, tell the system what I want to do, and I'm going to add a new identifier. I'm going to give it a new site name.
Go through here, right? And
we're going to make it Site 15. Yeah. And I had already made Amy Job a contact. Again, I would want to fill in all this information, but I also want to make sure that I am linking this site specifically to the YMCA of Cumberland. And then I'm going to save my changes.
right.
Harry, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah, absolutely.
And Sue, is it better to rename that organization license holder or just keep it as organization?
There's a separate place in there for license holder. So right now it'll be organization, because not the organization isn't always going to be the license holder.
Federal expenses and unobligated balance. This is for things reporting. So we've got to do these.
Okay.
Does somebody else have a question? I'm hearing some.
I don't know what that means. The total recipient share required. Recipient
In
share.
the back. Okay. Now I'm going to move into workshops. And again, once we have established a relationship with a provider or a new contact, we want to make sure first that we go into people. Once we've established that there are multiple sites, or even the sites directly associated with the organization, we'll go into sites. Now, as soon as workshops have been scheduled, dates and time, you want to go ahead and get the workshop scheduled as soon as possible. And we're going to put that information under the workshop tab. I'll come back to our search function in just a bit, but I'm going to start with general. And here again, I'm going to tell the system I want to add a workshop. I'm going to go in here.
And there's the license holder piece right there.
Oh, okay. That's where it popped up now. Okay. Yes, I see it.
Just one more note. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
One of the reasons you're not seeing all of those tabs, Pam, is that for the purposes of the work we're doing today and the testing that Sue's asking of you, is we just set up some of the access points to have, you know, to just kind of put some boundaries around it, just because we understand this is a big, robust system. And so we wanted just to give you some areas to play in and give feedback on. So you'll notice things like being able to set license holders is not in your list of things you have access to at this point on the left-hand side. So that's why one reason it's looking a little different is we're assuming Sue is going to, or one of the administrators anyway, is going to be the one setting those license holder specs, and that then you'll just be working with them from there.
Okay.
My thinking in the beginning is that I'll be adding all this information, and not so much for CDSMP because it's going to be migrated over, but for the other programs.
Okay.
Wonderful. I'm going to continue to set up this workshop unless there's any additional questions. Okay. So I'm hoping that. So here is the site that I just set up. We're going to set in, of course, all of our information, our parameters. And I'm guessing on dates. These may be 6 weeks. They may be all Tuesdays. I'm not quite sure.
And this is probably looking very familiar to you all.
Add all that on.
Okay. And then I'm going to put in a contact. I'm going to make Amy Jove our contact. And then, of course, internal comments may be information that we would like to share just internally. So this could be something like make sure that you have someone standing at the door to lead them to the class, or make sure door doesn't lock behind you. Parking is to the left, but it's not free. Website comments, this is going to be what's pulled through directly to the public website. So this might be something like free class or open to the community. So whatever you would like future participants or people who are from the public seeing on your website, that's what will go in here. So I'm going to save changes. Now I have my class currently set up. So I'm going to go back quickly here to search, and I'm just going to search just to show you all the different classes we currently have set up. And then I'm going to go back to search and give a few different ways that we're able to search for this. So we can search by site. So I'm going to search just the YMCA 15, since there's a ton of YMCA sites. And we have the class showing here. Search again. I go back and say I want to search just by organization. Now this is actually going to pull up any of the classes that are under MAC organization. We currently have 2.
Is that the license?
No, that is under
organization.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which should be actually YMCA. And there we go. There's the class that we just set up, the February 2nd. So we can also go in custom. So if we know exactly the time frame of a class, we can do custom here. And we can also look at any of the curriculums. So say we want to look at all the classes that are CDSMP. And we can look at all the classes that have been set up under that curriculum.
Great, and we might as well.
I'm going to go back to our class that we just set up.
Oh, you mean some of these are from Iowa? Yeah. Oh, I see. Well,
Sorry.
I don't think they're
So again, my organization.
Uncheck custom.
Oh, thank you.
Uncheck custom.
There we go. Sorry about that. Okay. I'm going to go back in here. Now, once we have established a class, we want to make sure that once we have facilitators, that we actually go in and put them under membership. So I'm going to pull up Amy. She's all over the place today. And add her as a facilitator. And then I'm going to add myself as a facilitator.
Oh, okay.
You're all over the place.
I know. Now I have that. If we are doing a train the trainer, where we are training someone to become a facilitator, that's where when we would add them as a student.
You know it's right.
And if someone has gone in and done a fidelity, That's where we would add that fidelity coach into that area.
32.
All right. Paperwork is generally so that you're able to look at whenever paperwork has gone out, track your fidelity, and also look at whenever paperwork has come back in. This can also be very valuable that if you are doing any type of research project that requires you to have a pre or post test, then you can look at the dates and times when those pre-tests and post-tests have been conducted.
Did you want me to add?
All right. So we can also print, and this is going to print all the information that is in this pane. So again, if we search all the CDS&P classes without putting a parameter on it, it would print all of those CDS&P classes. We are printing specifically those that are associated with the YMCA, and we're going to go here.
585.
And this is going to give us quick information about the programs, when the dates are, and also time. You can also go to export.
Salary. So the rest is salary.
And again, we can have now something we can edit and manipulate as an Excel spreadsheet.
83 minus 68.
Okay.
Can I show them one other thing on here? When you show them the general page on workshop, you show them just that orange button, because I know they've all been playing with something similar, but this is a really little quick trick. So for those of you who have been used to putting these things through, that little edit button will take you through. So if you're entering a workshop, realize you don't have a site entered yet, you can hit that edit button, and it will take you right to where you need to add the site.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's a new shortcut that's
That's
built in.
great, because I can't tell you how many times that's happened.
Yes,
Yes, thank you.
Happens all the time. And there's a couple of them.
And here's a tip: before you hit that edit button, hit the Save Changes button first.
Yes.
And
Yes, and when sorry, not on this one that you're talking about, Sue, correct?
Right.
But on,
We're doing that more and more now.
I'm wondering if it's going to pull up at the correct site or no. So I believe you were talking about saving changes here prior to going to edit.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Oh. Ooh.
Because if you don't do that, then when you go back to find it, it's not there. I learned that the hard way.
Ah. Oh boy, I'm not going to remember that.
You will
And
after you
can't
skip
save
it.
enough. So,
when in doubt, save.
yeah, when in doubt, save. Another reason why it's so important to quickly get in the workshops once you know that they are happening is once referrals do start coming in, you can only enroll someone once a workshop is set up in the system. And we'll be talking about that in just a second. But I want to ask, are there any questions about the workshop tab at this point?
What that was for November?
Yeah. I'm hearing somebody talking. I can't hear what you're saying. Do you have a question?
No questions.
Okay, great.
Wonderful. So I say this all the time, but it is very genuine and possibly a bit nerdy. But this area is absolutely my favorite as far as being a coordinator. Don't get me wrong, everything else helps this area stay organized. And so I'm going to go now into our referral area. So this is going to be where we handle referrals coming in, and also how we are able to enroll a person into a class. So I'm going to start with referring entities. This is going to be an organization that's referring into a class, and we're going to see that we can have multiple individuals referring under one entity. So I'm going to add an entity. And this time I'm going to make Lindsay a
For the month of November, 170.
we're going to make her a entity, so
that's good.
she has her own practice. Save that. Now I'm going to go to referring individuals, because we're able to, again, there might be several people referring under one entity. Again, I'm going to tell the system that I would like to put in an individual. I'm going to make Carrie.
Oh, okay.
We're going to make him Carrie MD.
Oh, good. I like you report to me.
And then we're, again, going to link this up with Lindsay's MD practice. We want to fill in the information, save changes, and now we have a referring individual that is connected with the referring entity, Lindsay's MD practice. Is that making sense so far?
Yes.
Wonderful. Now we get to go to referrals. And when our referrals are coming in, this is where we're going to process that information and keep track of all of our participants and future participants. So I'm going to come back to the search function, but I'm going to start in general. So we received a referral through a fax or secure email, and we are going to enter in this information. So I'd like to add a referral.
So we have salary for her for September.
I'm going to put in Bob Bear. And Bob Bear has been referred from Lindsay's MD practice from Harry. First, then we would put in all of Bob's information as much as we possibly can. It's always very nice to put in a referral date. This helps you if you go back later and you see that this person was referred in 2013. This may have been someone that we can request no further contact with. This will just help us to be able to, again, search better later on. Okay.
And you'll notice you've got a couple of shortcuts in here as well. That's what those orange buttons are for. So
again, if we found that we haven't set up a workshop, we would use edit, or we found that we haven't set up a referring individual, we'll press edit, and it'll take us directly to being able to set those up under each tab. Okay. So Bob Bear, we called, he was referred on January 6th, and I want to say that I'm going to be the person who actually handles this referral. So I'm going to go in and say, Bob was referred. So this just tells me what I have done in the past on the 7th. So in case someone else comes into this referral, they basically know where I've left off with Bob. So this might be that Bob wanted additional information. Bob could have wanted to maybe talk to his wife and you're just following up. But this is a good way to keep notes of what you are doing currently with the referral. Again, the more information that's added in here, the better the system's going to be. If you can tell that someone was referred several months before and you're not able to tell whether or not they've been called, it's going to make it a little confusing for the person and the handler. So again, as much information as keeping interaction with each referral. I'm going to save my past contact. Now next contact, and this is going to be a good way to remember when contact is needed. So if I mark the 8th, and say, call Bob back. Whenever I go onto the system on the 8th and I search for people who need callback, on the 8th it'll bring up everybody that I need to make contact with that day. Does that sound good?
cool.
Just want to make sure. Okay. So we're going to go back to Bob. And now we want to, Bob is called, we've talked to Bob, and we want to actually put Bob into a class. And so we have, again, set up the classes that we would like to put Bob in. Here's the class that we added to our workshop. We're going to save changes, and now Bob is enrolled in our class. Bob should be the only one currently enrolled in our class. So I'm going to search. I'm going to go down to this class, and I want to see everyone who's enrolled. And Bob is our only person who's enrolled. So I'm going to go back to search now and just show a few more different ways, hopefully here to search. And so if I wanted to search everyone that was in Wellness Care Inc., again, people who are enrolled, We just did Bob. Sorry about that. And of course, this all matters if people have been populated. Let's see if this, sorry.
Are you looking for the DPP?
No, I'm just looking for, so basically looking for people who are enrolled. What I'm going to show is rather the referring entity. Again, we are able to look at very different referring entities and actually search by that. So we're going to go to Stand Strong, and we want to look at people who have been referred by Stand Strong. There we go. So this person has been referred by the referring entity, Joni's Practice, and actually been referred by Janet Smith into the July 7th CDSMP. Again, under search, we can search by name. We can also search by referring individual. So I'm going to go back down here.
She doesn't have any.
I'm going to go to Lindsay's Practice again, and then I'm going to say I would like to look that up specifically from Harry. And that's going to bring up Bob Bear. So I'm going to search again, and I think, try this again. And so this again is just going to be another way that we're able to run information for those people who are referring, or just for our sake of seeing what kind of patterns. So at Dr. Joni's Practice, we're finding that in past contacts, we're seeing that people aren't really signing up for classes in the evening, but they're signing up for classes during the day. It's going to help us identify those patterns. It's also going to help us see all the people. So I'm going to go in here, print
2,280.
a log that we're able to show to the referring entity about where Scotty Saunders had been referred from, and where what their enrolled notes are, and then any type of past calls that they have.
And once you guys are working with this, you will see that this is the area that people love most of all, is the ability to be able to not only make those contact management notes, but then to be able to send them off to referring practices and entities. The providers get a lot of information they want, but it's also a great way for people who are making the phone calls to keep track of the information who they're talking with, so that they're reminded of who the person is they're talking with, that what they were looking for was how am I going to get to class, and that was where you left off the conversation, so that it makes following up on those next contacts much easier and a richer conversation on both sides. And that results in referrals actually becoming enrollments, which is the goal.
And it also results in additional referrals really from these practices, providers, entities in general. It becomes very helpful for them to have an idea of who's going in, but it also closes out that referral feedback loop. So if, Scotty says that he's not sick or doesn't have a chronic condition, that provider can say, well, no, I know I referred you. Here's the feedback that I've received, and we do know you have a chronic condition. I'm going to refer you to the class again. And so that usually results in additional referrals, because the practice or provider understands that we do want to share that information, that it's not just going into a black hole. Okay, I'm going to pull up another class here. Okay, so I'm going to go back to now that we are able to see the way that we're entering in referrals. I want to come to one more tag over here, and this is handler. And what the handler is who can be shown in past contacts. So again, I'm going to say add handler, telling the system what I would like to do. I'm going to add Tim, our guy that we added earlier. Save changes. Now, if I go back to referrals, and I look at Bob Bear, and I go into my past contacts, going to add a contact. Now we see Tim can be used as a handler. And again, this is dynamic, so you can add new handlers as needed. Any questions in the referral area?
I'm confused on the handler.
So the handler is going to be anybody who may be talking to a referral. And so say that we're going to add, let me say a new person. So say Julie has at this point never dealt with a referral. And we want Julie to be able to start taking calls for referrals. So I'd put Julie in. She's not currently, oh, Julie is in. 1 second. We will put Adam in. So Adam is currently not listed as someone who can be working with referrals.
Okay.
Save changes here. Now, if I went into referrals, I'm going to actually add a new person since Adam's also new. Give Lee Bob an odd name. And I'm going to go ahead and save changes. And I went into past contact. Now again, for Lee Bob, we want to add all that additional information. And now I can go in when before Adam would not have shown here as a handler. So this limits, this is a good way for us to see who can be working with referrals and also to track who has been entering in information.
It's really going to help you so that you don't have information that you have no idea where it came from, and also so that you can really track who it is that you are allowing and giving access to becoming a handler. So it really will give you a couple of double checks. One, it's a way to really track so that when you pull those reports, you know who Pam has talked with versus who Felicia talked with. And you can kind of follow the trail. Also, it's going to be able to allow you to set who is going to be handling referrals from Johns Hopkins as opposed to who's tracking other things. So all of those kind of access pieces and tracking the communication is done through that handler title.
Okay, understand.
Okay.
Now, and it was 1,200.
I'm going to save this. I believe that actually the CDSMP coordinators, correct me if I am wrong, Sue, they actually won't have access to participants currently. Is that correct? For entering in participant data?
I think that's correct because Felicia does that all on her end after the fact.
I'm
right,
going to go in
Felicia?
here and change my access real quick so that you're all looking at what we need to be looking at.
Just give you the total expenses off of each sheet.
Felicia, you're our everything. You're our only handler. You're it.
Everything. It's all on you, Felicia.
All on me.
Oh, so she paid them. Oh, okay, so anything.
How many other handlers do we have?
Yeah.
Well, keep in mind, it's the demo site, so there will be additional handlers coming on. But in this little, in your demo, it's a little bit less.
Yeah, there will actually be one at least one handler for each agency.
$298 for 2.
For each agent, or
for each. Well, I think it's going to be up to the provider, but for Baltimore County, for example, we're probably going to have a couple of them because Franklin Square will probably have one, St. Joe's will have one, Baltimore County Department of Aging will have one, so that they can all do their own programs and do their own referrals.
okay.
So what we just saw that I took off of my functionality was the participant tab. And again, Felicia, that's what you're going to be entering in data for. Everybody else will be able to run reports based on the data that Felicia enters in. So when we look at reports, again, this is going to be able to gather statistics. of each different classes and also the participants that are in the class. So this will not be specific to the participants themselves, although it will be demographic information specific to the class. So with the reports, I'm going to go ahead and say next.
Meaning that's going to be, what you're pulling up here is totally de-identified. And you will see in, under the People tab, access for this is going to be set just like it is for other information. So somebody is not going to be able to pull up Anne Arundel County data unless you've given them permission to pull up that data. So people will be, as we have them set up in the system, you'll be determining whose information they can look at, and only that information. So there will be those same safeguards in place.
Okay. So I'm going to start with a one-column report, and I'm going to look at past CDS&P. And it's going to be one column, and I'll go back and show two columns. And I'm going to allow it to stay as all license holders, but I'm only going to pull up CDS&P. I'm going to say select none, and then make it specific here. And then I'm going to search it in general. Now we can also, again, make it specific to organizations or even to sites, specific leaders, or date range. So these are currently all the CDS&P classes. Then I can download my report. And it's going to pick up all my information about my CDS&P classes. So we've had 6. The average participants per workshop is, we're looking at about 11.5. Number of participants over all 6. And then we've had the number that have completed 4 or more, 53 of 68. And so this is also good in the sense that it's Word. So it allows us to edit as we see fit. We can add graphs. We can add footnotes as needed. So it can be edited. We can take out some of the information that we maybe don't want to share. But we can share this with different organizations that possibly are hosting classes. We can share this with funders to let them see what we've been doing and how it pertains to a specific target market. But this is a very powerful tool to get quick statistics. I'm going to go out of this now and show how we can do a comparison report.
I thought we put in a daily rate.
So I'm going to look at Santa Fe Strong here.
920.
And I'm going to compare Santa Fe Strong to all CDS&P classes.
So how do you change? Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to say 2-column report.
So we've got
and next, we're going to start with our first title. So this is going to be Santa Fe Strong. And I'm going to leave it as all license holders. I'm going to say we're just looking at CDS&P. I'm going to select no organizations, but then I'm going to go back and select Santa Fe Strong, because that's what we're looking at for our specific comparison.
And then mileage.
Okay, that looks good. I'm going to say next. And then I'm going to say here all.
$9.20.
And again, I'm going to set my parameters. And here I'm going to say select none. Actually, I'm going to go in and say select all. But here I want to take out Santa Fe Strong because we already have the numbers and we are comparing the two. Say next. So I see additional classes. Say next.
533.50.
And now we have a comparison and see how nice that is to be able to edit.
Yes, it is. My favorite thing.
There we go. So now we're able to see numbers compared right next to each other in columns. This is going to be great for being able to talk with funders again, or maybe being able to show one organization how they compare to other organizations in the state. We can also bring this down again to sites. So we may have 2 sites under one organization, and we want to show that Site A is having 5 more classes than Site B. And that information can then be shared with that organization to show them how each site is actually comparing.
I only have 4 days accounting.
Are there any questions about the report?
We'll see she will reflect on that day.
No. They're excellent.
And can you repeat that again? I'm sorry.
I said that is excellent.
Oh, wonderful. Yay.
Hey, Felicia. Okay.
All right. So I'm going to close this out. Again, Felicia, you're going to have a little bit more functionality because you'll be entering in the participant data. So yours will actually say participant right here. But that's going to give you the demographic information and be able to then everyone else can run great reports based on all the amazing data that you're entering in.
And Felicia, just so that this is
I know you guys have probably heard this before, but I want to make sure that it's restated and reiterated that one Workshop Wizard is going to be used under a secure connection. So it will always have the HTTPS, meaning it is a secure website. Now again, this is a website. So this means it can be accessed from any place that has any type of internet access. You do have unique logins, and that also means that if there is one change that is made to Workshop Wizard, that change can be applied to everyone's license. That there's no downloading, there's no modification on your end, that will go directly to your license. In addition, Workshop Wizard is protected by standard security procedures. It also includes a firewall and has security updates that are updated by Microsoft and has this antivirus software, and all the data is encrypted. So if for some reason there was some kind of catastrophe, all the backup data is encrypted so that we can keep secure HIPAA-compliant information. Also to be said, in the reports and when entering in participant information, everything is de-identified. So we are not keeping names of any of the participants. And also, we at COA will have access to your Workshop Wizard. And a few reasons for that. Again, if there's any type of updates that we need to make. In addition to that, there might be a time where you want to call me and we're missing a step somewhere, or there's another shortcut we can make, and I will be able to actually go on and see exactly what you're looking at and hopefully walk through getting that information into the system. So a few things again, save often. Definitely play around, get used to it. I know you all have been working on it, working on a site very similar. And again, the more information that is in here, the more robust and functional the system's going to be. Any questions?
This is Pam. I have one question. And so if a referral comes in and I just want to search diabetes classes in Baltimore City, can I do that, or how do I know what workshops to plug somebody in Baltimore City? Because there's several different healthcare organizations within Baltimore City that may be offering a DSMP. Do I have to pull up each individual, I guess I have to pull up each individual organization and look, or is there the capability to just do a regional search? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. If you know where the sites are located, you can search for all the workshops via that site. And then you can also do it via the organization. It's going to pull up all the classes by that organization.
There isn't right now a way to look at them by geographic location, but I will tell you one of the things that's coming on the public website is a geo map where all the classes will show as dots on a physical, on a map. So that if you're looking at Baltimore, and that will include you, you can move the mouse over those dots and it will show you which classes are closest to Baltimore. So it's like a little cheat sheet for all of us. The other thing that you can do is pull up the list of diabetes prevention classes, but there isn't a geographic way to search for that. But I think the map will come in real handy for you.
So excellent question, and definitely functionality on its way.
Well, and Lindsay, correct me. This is Sue. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the referrals that you're going to handle are the ones that come into your agency. So I don't think
so you will know.
Happen.
But I was trying to think about, because something like United Methodist Church means nothing if you don't know where that United Methodist Church is, or Bates like housing like that. If you're trying to geographically find a workshop that's as close as possible to that participant.
Right.
Yeah, because I could plug them into First United Methodist Church and it might be in the next county. I don't know.
Right, but you're going to be getting referrals that are going to be germane to your programs.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
We may also want to look at having that map show more than one place, so that if you are handling referrals and enrollments, just as a thought, Sue, to see, for example, from the workshop screen, to also be able to see where the workshops are on the map.
Gotcha.
6, 2, 3, 4.
All right, very good question. Any other questions?
None.
All right.
I'm going to currently turn it back over to Lindsay and Sue. I definitely want to thank you for your time, and I believe after this you'll be doing some testing, and this is definitely going to not only benefit your organization, but it's going to benefit us quite a bit. So don't hold back. Definitely give us feedback so that we can continue to develop this functionality and continue to meet your needs. So thanks again.
Thank you, Joni,
Part of
so
what
much.
we want to be able to do is really tailor the training. So you all are in an interesting position because you have a lot of experience with this. Some of the other folks won't have that. So the more input you can give us, the better. And it's all yours,
that's
Sue.
what I'm milling over right now, because, wow, it's incredible. What you guys have done is incredible, and all the information that you can access out of there is unbelievable, overwhelming, and I'm even overwhelmed looking at it. I don't know how Felicia feels. She uses it a lot more than I do, but some of these Living Well coordinators who can't even remember their password to get on the site and pull up Report 1, I'm rethinking about the structure of how we're going to do this, because I don't know if we should just have one centralized person that takes all the referrals.
19,950.
I think
rather than individual AAA, each individual healthcare partner, because it's going to be a lot of training to get people up and running on this.
Well, I agree with that, Pam, and I think that's information. That's a discussion we're just going to have to work on. But ideally, if DHMH had staffing to do that, then we could play that role. But unfortunately, that's not built into this project. So, we'll be figuring it out how to. We really do want people to have the ability to go in and do what they need to do in here. So, I know the more hands that are in there, the maybe the harder it will be to keep it clean. So that's something that we're going to have to learn as we go, I think. So
I do know that one of the things we've talked about, Sue and Pam, is the idea that this list of what's available that you looked at today can even be pared down more, so that when
Right.
we're working with people who haven't worked with this site at all, we can start them working just with the people tab, or we can start them working with referrals once everything is already put in, once the workshops are in and the contacts, the handlers are in and the referring entities are in. So we can even minimize from what you saw today, go a shorter list of what's available so that people can just do, can start with something very manageable and then work into the bigger pieces.
right, I'm even putting together a template for providers to send me information so that I can get a lot of the information in ahead of time. And so right now I'm just trying to figure out how much of that I want to do and how much I want to give to the folks to put in. But I think, Pam, your caution is a really good one.
Thank you. Yeah, and most of our coordinators are somewhat familiar with the format, but some of our healthcare partners to
Right.
manage this is I don't know. It's going to be a little challenging, I think.
Right.
I think so.
Well, I think the more we put in ahead of time, that the better off we're going to be.
Yeah, that's true.
I agree, and we'll know we'll know the referrals ahead of time of our healthcare partners and where they're coming from. So if all that information is loaded in, and and to get the coordinators to maybe the coordinator's role is just really just to plug in their workshops and dates and locations.
Right. Right, and that's possible that's what they'll do, and then be able to do the reports. And I mean, they'll have to be able to put people in, I think, because CDSMP, the people are already going to be in because that's already there. But it's still something we have to consider for all the DSME and the DPP, the Diabetes Prevention Program. So not to belabor this too much longer. Tomorrow I'll be sending an email out to you guys as a follow-up to this training with some information and login information, login rights for you to get in and start playing around. And
okay. That'll be great. Okay? That'll be great. And Sue, did you get anybody to step up to the plate to start to test this, meaning from Baltimore Washington Medical Center, or?
Not from there. They're interested, but I think they're a little concerned about getting in there without any kind of go-ahead from their medical directors. So we're going to hold off on them for a bit. And I did get someone from Mercy who is going to be listening to, she's going to be a DPP provider, and she's already a DSME provider, so she's going to listen to the one earlier today and then look at it from the DSME point of view. So we will have at least one person looking at it from that point of view.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and thanks, Pam. I appreciate your putting me onto them.
No problem. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you all again. I really appreciate Felicia and Pam and Leanne being on the call, and Lindsay and Joni for yet again doing another great training.
Thank you guys. Of course, we're here, so let us know.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I've been taking all kinds of we go through here, so we'll have another conversation, Lindsay.
Okay, it's a deal.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.